Yes, it's magic time. And no, I'm not going to play that music in the background of this video for obvious reasons, but that was the song I listened to when I was working on my new math puzzle generator inside Excel, and that is for Magic Square Puzzle. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create Magic Square puzzles inside Excel or Google Sheets or any similar software. If at the end you want to buy this Excel file that I'm showing you and I'm going to use in this video, there will be a link down below to get it from my Gumroad store. I'm going to skip some things I already explained in previous videos, so if you are completely new to Excel, make sure that you watch them before this one, because this is a series and so videos are connected in a way. So let's start with learning what is a magic square. Magic square is a term for a grid of numbers where each row, column, and main diagonals have the same sum. And this sum is referred to as a magic number. Now, when I was working on this puzzle, I received a question how I'm going to make this into a puzzle generator where there is only one magic square per grid size. Technically that is correct, but also there is a catch. So allow me to show you in my Excel file. So this is the Excel file that you can purchase in my Gumroad store if you want to. And let me show you. So this is that basic 3x3 grid with numbers 1 to 9. And I also made all possible 8 variations that you can get. So total, there is 8 possible variations of 3x3 magic square. And I highlighted 6, 7, 2. So you can actually see that all these grids are not different. They are just mirror version of the original or rotated version of the original magic square. So you see 6, 7, 2 are always going to be connected to each other. They're always going to be in a block together. And also number 5 must be in the middle. You cannot make with numbers 1 to 9 magic square in a 3x3 grid without having 5 in the middle. So that means, if I look at it from this view, that means I can only create 8 puzzles using this magic square in a 3x3 grid. So let's see that in 4x4. So what do we have in 4x4? In 4x4, of course, we're going to have more possible combinations. I highlighted the blocks of numbers so you can see where did I move them. So in first case, I just flipped them. So I flipped this block and this blocks, or I rotate them by 90 degrees. And I also bolded 6 and 12 because you will spot that 6 and 12, no matter what I do to this original grid, 6 and 12 are always together. So this is also a valid magic square created from this block here. So of course this means I have multiple variations of 4x4 magic square grid from the original grid, and I have around, I believe, 500 or 600 for 4x4. And then of course when you go 5x5, 6x6, you will get more of these original, the way I call them, core magic squares. But that is not enough. Of course we can just make 8 puzzles and that's it. If it's like a printable, if it's like activity for a day, then it's going to work. But what if we want to make an entire book of these puzzles? So it's not going to work if we only have 8 or 50 grids to work with. So how can we use these core grids to make a new grid that is still going to obey the rule of being a magic square? So all the rows, columns, and diagonals having the same sum. Now the way to do this is by adding, subtracting, or multiplying all the numbers in the grid with the same number. And because we are using Excel, we can have this number, this unique number, to be randomly generated by Excel. So this number here, -4. And what I did is, this is my original magic square, 3x3. And now I subtracted -4 from all the numbers inside the grid. And now I have completely new magic square grid. This is something that we used in previous video. We used rand and rand between to generate a random number in order to create something that is going to produce puzzle generator, not just puzzle once, but actually we click and we get more and more puzzles, different puzzles each time we click anywhere inside Excel. But there is a difference between that formula that we used last time and the formula that we're going to use today. In this case, we need to avoid that Excel generates 0, randomly generates 0. So the formula that we would classically use here would be a rand between a number and a number. But in this case, we need to use choose formula. Now choose formula is going to, so this is the formula here. So what this formula is doing, we have a rand between 1 and 2. So this formula is going to force Excel to choose randomly between this number here and this number here. Now this number here is a range between -10 and -1. Of course, this is me. You can set this number to any number you want. But -1 needs to be the limit. So the left number you can change. So you can put it -50, -100, -1000. It doesn't matter. It can be any number, but the second number is -1. And then another range is between +1 and then any number you want. So by doing this, what Excel is going to choose is going to choose randomly between random number between -10 and -1 or run between +1 and 50. And by doing this, it's never going to randomly generate 0. And why we need to avoid 0? So if we have 0 here, and this is our original core grid that we are using, if we add 0, subtract 0, or multiply with 0, we're not going to change the original core grid. And that is what we want to do. We want to change the original core grid. So what we have now is this situation here. So I have my basic core magic squares on this side. So those are these 8 here from the top. I'm going to stop here. And now what you can do is you can pause the video and you can copy paste this into your Excel file. So just copy paste these 9 grids because they're always going to be the same. So you only need to have them once. And you also need to remember they are not important. So you can put them completely somewhere far to the right because you're never going to use them. You're never going to actually print them out, copy paste them anywhere. We are just using them as input data to generate the actual magic squares. So the squares that we're going to convert into puzzles. So we have these 9 here, and I'm going to just give you a second so you can pause the video actually without me highlighting stuff. So okay, so if you did that, now somewhere in the middle or wherever you want, click and copy paste that formula I told you. So this formula here. So choose run between 1 and 2, and then run between negative any number you want and -1, and run between +1 and any positive number beyond 1. So type that formula here or anywhere you want, somewhere where it's visible to you. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be visible to the end user. So this is just something that you're using as a support. Now, once you have that, so once you have this random number, you see if I click, the number is constantly changing. So no matter where you click on your Excel sheet, it's going to randomly generate brand new number. So once you have that number somewhere in the puzzle, click on that and drag it down. So this is a formula, and when you drag it down, you will just drag that formula down. So all these numbers, these 9 numbers, are randomly generated numbers. So once you have that, click on the first box here. So this is still empty, okay? I know it's filled for me. So this is what we need. This is what we are working with. And this is going to be on the beginning of the left side of the Excel. So click here. Press equal, click on this number, so the first number that we have here, and type plus or minus or multiplication. So this is totally up to you what mathematical operations you're going to use. And then select one of the random generated numbers, and I'm going to choose the first one. Now this is very important. Do not stop with the formula now. We also need to add something. in front of this letter of this cell here, we're going to add the $sign. And also in front of the number, we're going to add $sign. The reason why we did this is because we want to force Excel to add or multiply or whatever you picked always with this number. So we do not want this number to change, but we want all the other numbers to change. So now I'm going to press equal. So this number now is 6 minus 3. So that is how we got this number here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this one and I'm going to drag it to the right by 3 blocks. And then I'm going to drag it down by 3 blocks. And as a result, because I use the $sign in front of the letter and the number, each of these cells is now this number plus this one, 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 and so on. And you just repeat that step with the new box here. So this number here with the next number that you randomly generated. This one is plus this one is plus this one. So as always, it is going to take you longer to create a generator, but as you can see here, after 5 minutes, you will be able to click and new puzzle, click and new puzzle. And you're probably wondering, okay, Marina, I see all the numbers. How are these numbers here? How are these grids a puzzle? So how can we convert this into a puzzle? So we have 3 options. Option number 1 is the easiest one, where you can add the sum of all the rows, and then you just type a couple of numbers inside. Usually it will be, if you're going to have sum of all the diagonals and all the rows, then you can have 3 numbers visible in a 3 by 3 grid. Now, I know somebody's going to ask, Marina, how did you get this number here? So let me show you how you can easily get that number in this grid. So the first one. So click here, equal, type sum, open bracket, and just select these 3 numbers. And that's the first one. You do not have to do this again. Remember, we can just drag it down and reduce the font because, of course, the sum of these numbers is going to be larger. And now here, same thing. Type sum, open bracket, select these 3, close it, press enter, and then drag it to the right. Okay? And how are we going to get diagonal? Now diagonal is a little harder. We need to do it manually. So this one plus this one plus this one equals. And that is how you get diagonal. So of course, this is something that you only need to do once. Once you do this, it is always going to calculate the new, you see, it's always calculating the new sum. So if you want to have sum visible, you would have to do that as well. You would have to add the sum of the rows and diagonals and all the columns. So that is one way to do it. So that is the first option of turning this into a puzzle. Option number 2 is you're not going to have the sum visible, but in that case, you must have one row, one column, or one diagonal with all the numbers visible. So if you're not going to show sum of the square of the grid, and if you're not going to type it, for example, I could type here the magic number is 15. So I could type that, but that means that you need to type that for each puzzle. But I could do this. Let me show you. You could magic sum is. Let me do that. Let me change that. Let me reduce the font. So magic sum is, and I'm not going to type the number. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to calculate the sum. It doesn't matter which one. And then I'm going to reduce this. So you can have this variation as well. So you can have, but in this case, you can also have like this. You can have only 3 numbers inside. You do not need 4 numbers if you're going to write the sum. So in this option number 2, I would not have sum anywhere, and I would not even write it down. What I would do is I would have 3 numbers in a row, column, or diagonal completely visible. So in this case, what the person who is solving the puzzle has to do. First, he needs to calculate what is the magic sum. So in this case, he would have to add 9 plus 5 plus 1 to get 15. And once now he knows it is 15, he can calculate this. And once he can calculate this, he can calculate diagonals, he can calculate everything else. So that is one of the ways you can turn this into a puzzle. And option number 3 is the hardest version. Now this is the reason why this video was delayed, because option number 1 is easy, option number 2 is more or less easy, but I figured there is also option number 3. Now option number 3 is not for kids. It's not for kids. It is for maybe ages of 10 and beyond, or kids that are advanced, or maybe adults that are advanced. Because for option number 3, person really needs to know what is a magic square, needs to know the logic of the magic square. So in this case, I'm only giving 3 numbers, so it's same as this one, so same as option number 1, but I'm not giving the magic sum. So there is no information of the magic sum at all. And usually I'm giving the lowest number in the grid, the highest number in the grid, and then one of the other numbers. Now, how would you solve this one if you were to solve this one? Now, if you know the logic of the magic square, you would set up 2 formulas. So the formula for the first row is that unknown number plus 9 plus 4 gives magic sum. And in this column, we have 9 plus unknown number plus 1 gives magic sum. And we know that the unknown numbers can only be 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it cannot be 4, so let me delete 4. Okay, so it can be 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now, if you know mathematics, you can solve this. You can solve this because now this becomes a true mathematical problem. This one here is also a mathematical problem, but it's like elementary, basic math. You need to find the sum, and once you summarize, you're always looking for the third number out of 3 numbers. So that is out of 2 numbers. So that is easy to calculate. This one requires a little bit of thinking, little bit of combination. And of course, there is no guessing. There is no way that number 5 can be here, but also can be here and produce correct magic square. So it's not going to work like that. It's always going to be a unique puzzle. Now, if you want to learn more, there is this link here, and I'm going to, let me just switch. So I would recommend that if you want to work on the magic square puzzle generator, I would truly recommend that you read everything here. This explains in quite simple terms what is a magic square, history of the magic square. You have the formulas behind the magic square, the logic of the magic square, so everything is explained. And you also have grids. In the upper left corner, you also have a magic square generator. So for the core grids, if you remember what I told you, core grids, you can use this one here. So type number 4, and it's going to give you a 4x4 grid. Select it like this with your mouse, and just copy paste it. So let me select it. Select it with the mouse. Control C to copy. And if you go to Excel and just click paste, you see it's going to paste it properly, and then of course you can change the font, the size, everything as well. So that is how you can get all the grids. So remember, you see the first digit is 11. So let me just go back to that site. So the first number, notice the first number is 11. So now I'm going to change to 5, and then I'm going to go back to 4. You see now the first number in the upper left corner is 1. So this is how you can get different core grids for your Excel file. So just type 5, 4. You can rotate between 5 and 4. You can go to 5 and then paste this one in your 5 Excel. So Excel for puzzle generator or 5x5 grid. And then you type 4 and then you just copy paste. So that is how you can get your core grids for Magic Square. So let's go back to this one. I will keep this one here for you. So let's switch to the next one. So this is what you should have inside your Excel file. You will have core grids somewhere on the side, not important. This is what you are printing out, this is what you are copy pasting, this is what you are using, and how you're going to turn them into a puzzle. So erase 3 in a row or 3 in a column, and usually you can erase middle and center, or you can erase the corners. Keep in mind, remember from the last Excel I told you, don't physically erase the number, just change its color. You see it, so the number is still there, I just turn it into a white shade. You need to keep it in the white shade, because if I select all of this, so let's select copy, so I copy it and I go to PowerPoint and I click paste here. So this is now my set of puzzles. If I duplicate this slide, change the font to black, now I have so this is no longer puzzle, this is now solutions. So that is how you can get, in PowerPoint you can get solutions. So these are puzzles, these are solutions, but if you did not erase physically the numbers, you just make them white, then you can have the same, so the same blocks, the same table, you copy paste them only once, and it's going to work for you as a puzzle, and it's going to work for you for solutions as well. So let's go back to Excel, or you can do that directly in Excel, so you can have one sheet for puzzles and then you have one sheet for solutions, and you can copy paste them. So this is completely up to you how you want to organize, and also depends on how big you want. In 6x9 you will have this many puzzles, or a US letter you will have this many puzzles. So this is now completely up to you. So this is 4x4. For 4x4 I have here examples of the puzzles generated. The reason why I provided you with so many options is because I wanted to give you all the possible variations of the numbers that needs to be whitened. So not erased but whitened, so the number is still here but we cannot see it because the font is white. All the possible combinations for 4x4 grid are here. So these are combinations for 4x4 grid, and I also highlighted one block here so you can see how many permutations I created with just one puzzle grid. So this is one puzzle grid and these are combinations of the same one. Where you're going to get this one is you're going to get this one from that website I just showed you. So that website is going to produce you this one, this one, this one. So each time you click, it's going to give you a different permutation of the 4x4 grid. So once you have that copy pasted here, you can follow this line or you can erase it yourself. So the logic of the erase is always erase one number in each column, each row and each diagonal, and then bring one number back if you're not going to show the sum of the math square. If you're going to show the sum of the math square, then you can erase from each row, diagonal and column one number. If you do not know how to erase numbers in order to convert grid into a puzzle, use this logic. Now erase couple of numbers, just randomly erase couple of numbers and see can you solve that grid. So let me show you the logic. Let me zoom in. So I'm going to show you the logic of how to solve this puzzle here. First we have this row here. This row is giving me the total sum. So my first step if I want to solve this puzzle is I need to calculate the total sum. So now I know the total sum and now I'm looking what can I solve. I can solve this now easily because I only have one number missing. I know the total sum, so I can solve this one. So this number is solved. So let me highlight. I'm going to cancel that later on. I can also solve this one here. So this is solved now. Because now I have this one solved, I can solve this one. Now, because this one is solved, I can solve this one. I could also solve this one because you see, I have 3 in a row. And now I can either solve this or I can solve this. It's going to give me the results. So let me just undo that for your file. And that is how you reverse produce a puzzle from your grid. So just follow the logic of solution and go backwards from that solution. So let me show you that. I believe I left one for the video. So in my Excel, you have for everything. You have for 4x4, you have for 5x5. So you have your solution and puzzles. 6, I believe up to 11. But I know I did not do 1. So let me, okay, 8x8. So I have solution here. And I do not have puzzle here because all numbers are visible. So let me show you how you can create a puzzle from all the numbers in the grid. So I'm going to start just by erasing. So I'm going to turn this into white. So now, how can I solve this number here? I can solve this number using this line or this line. So that means I have 2 ways of solving this row. And I need to cancel that. So I'm going to use this one here. So now I can no longer use this row here to solve this number. This number is now only possible to solve by using this column. Now, in this case, I have this number white and it can be solved using this line. So I'm just going to go here. So I'm going from here to here to here and now to the next place. Now I'm going to go to this one, number 10. Now number 10 is actually on diagonal. So now I can erase another number that is also on this diagonal and I'm going to choose this one. This one is connected to this one. This one is connected to this one. This one is connected to this one. And this one is connected to this one, and this one is connected to this one, and this one, and this one, and what else? And I can do, what else I can do? Okay, so let me see. Okay, I can also do this. Okay, so let me highlight what I did. This is my column that I did not touch. Of course, I'm counting that I do not know the sum, so ignore the sum. So I'm presuming I do not know the total sum of this magic square. So this is how I'm going to calculate that. So once I calculate this total sum of these numbers, I know the magic number of this magic square. And now I'm working in backwards. I'm looking for a row or column that only has one missing number. So that would be this one. And I'm going to highlight this one in red. So this is the first number after I solve the magic number. This is the first number I can solve because I have all the numbers and only one is missing. And I know the total sum. So now after I solve this one, I can solve this one. You see this one here, I can solve because in this column, only this one is missing. And now in this row, this one is missing. And now I cannot do anything with this one because this one is missing, but I can solve this one. You see this one here, this one can be solved. And now because I have this number, this can be solved. 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 What else? This can be solved because the only number is missing. This one, and this one. Okay, and now that means I have a valid puzzle. So you see, I'm going backwards. So each number is connected. So this one is connected to this one is connected to this one is connected to this one. So you just follow it like a path in such way that all numbers are somehow connected. When you solve one number, automatically that means another number becomes solvable. And that is only possible if you know the total sum. If you want to give, for example, if I want to give 260, I could also erase one of the numbers in this column as well. And the puzzle will still be valid. The only reason why all numbers are here, because I do not know the total sum. And that is how you create, so let me move all of this. So that is how you create a valid puzzle out of the known grid of solution. And you can now change this. Of course, this is just one variation. Always keep the original. So always keep the original in all the black fonts, and then turn this into a white, and then save that, turn different combination into white, and you can produce thousands of different variations of the puzzle. And once you have that, so once that's the whole point, once you have that, once you have these in white, let me show you. So once you click on a certain place, not that one, this one. So once you click on a certain place, you see you're going to get new puzzles. Each time the puzzle is generating a random number and it's producing a new puzzle for you. So this setup, and it will always repeat every time when you are creating something in Excel. It's going to take you longer to prepare everything, but once you have everything ready, you actually have your puzzle generator. Let me show you what you actually get in the rest of the Excel file. So the same logic is used for 5x5, 6x6. You see, click, click, solutions and puzzles are automatically generated. And on somewhere on the right here, you see I have my core grids. So core grids are my basic magic squares that I'm not going to need or use because there are only a couple of them or even 100 of them. But by adding a random number, subtracting random number, I'm going to get a truly unique puzzle for my book or for my printable or any activity that I want. So 7x7, 8x8, 9x9, 10x10, 11x11, and then for 12, 13, 14, and 15, I just added, so in the Excel file, I just added the grid, so you have something to work with if you want to get my Excel. But until 11, you also have puzzles as well, together with the matching solution. So I hope this video was clear enough for you that you can now create a math magic square puzzle generator in Excel. You can use it inside Excel, you can copy paste it in PowerPoint, you have lots of combinations, but this is how you create your own magic square puzzle generator inside Excel. If you have any questions, ask me down below. This is the second puzzle that I'm going to show you. Soon I'm going to show you a lot more puzzles that are done inside Excel. And if you have any questions, ask me down below. I hope you liked the video. Until next video, I'll see you down below in the comments. Bye everybody, stay safe. It's a kind of magic.